It's draw day here at Coffee Break Tennis, and thank you for joining us. Now, we're very excited about the Wimbledon draw coming out here at Coffee Break Tennis. And by the way, if you've never seen Coffee Break Tennis and you're a big tennis fan, guess what? You're in for a treat. Thanks for tuning in. We are the fastest growing tennis talk show in the world. Absolutely true. Anyways, like I said, we're going to be talking all about the Wimbledon 2017 draw. We're going to be talking about Roger. We're going to be talking about Rafa. We're going to be talking about a little bit of Andy and Novak too. But before we get into any of that, I must warn you, I am the original Fed head. That's right. And I might show a little bit of bias.
It's entirely possible.
And it's great news if you are a Fed head like myself. If you love Roger Federer, this is a great draw. In fact, I was so excited this morning. I woke up, before I got out of bed, I looked through the entire draw and figured out everyone that Federer could possibly face all in bed this morning. And I was so happy that a song came to me, and I wrote and recorded a whole song this morning. And if you guys will indulge me before I get started with the show, I'd like to sing just a little bit of the song for you.
Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Yeah.
I'll explain why Federer is going to win those matches in just a moment. Now hit the real music! That's good. Alright, without further ado, let's get into Roger Federer's Wimbledon 2017 draw. Also, real quick note, remember, these are seeded projections, right? These are the higher ranked players expected to make it to these rounds where they could potentially meet Roger Federer. And at Wimbledon, there's really no guarantee that anyone, no matter how high ranked they are, actually make it there. First up, Alexander Dolgopolov. Now, this is kind of a tough first round match for anybody, but if Roger comes out playing the way he was playing in Halle in Germany, this will be a straight sets win, no problem. If Federer doesn't have his form, he will find his form and pull this thing out in 4 or 5 sets. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I just don't see any way that Federer loses this match. Round 2 against Djokovic. I'm really not sure how to say it because I've never heard of this guy. And trust me, I watch a ton of tennis. I read about tennis. I know a lot about tennis. I haven't heard of this guy. Now, he's ranked 78 in the world. You know, that's well within the top 100, so let's not completely write him off. And I looked him up. He's actually had some pretty good wins this year. In fact, he actually beat Feliciano Lopez. He's beat Borna Coric. You know, those are a couple good players. He most recently beat Jeremy Chardy on grass at the Eastbourne tournament. And then he took Isner to 3 sets with 2 tiebreakers that he lost against Isner. So sounds like this guy is pretty tough. Still, if Roger is playing like Roger, this should be no problem, straight sets win. Round 3, Misha Surev. Now, this could be a tough match, and thank you to Jaden Yang 09 who tweeted this out. This is a really nice little graphic for me to use for our video today, and what he says in there is a great point. That could be the toughest match. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, Djokovic is a great player, and you would say that's the toughest match, but definitely in the first week, Misha Surev is going to be the toughest match, and just look at Federer's results at Halle. Very interesting, these mirror images. He starts and ends with the same sets flopped, and then his second match and second to last match are the same scores in the sets, but flipped over. Flipped, flopped, what's the difference? Anyways, a tiebreaker here from Misha Surev, and he had the tiebreaker against Kachanov. Those were the toughest sets Federer had in Halle, where he did not drop a single set, as you could see from the information. Anyway, so this could be the same kind of match at Wimbledon. You could have a straight sets win for Roger, but they could have 1 or more tiebreakers in it. And I think Misha Sarev, he already pulled off a big upset this year, and grass is where you would expect him to do it again. So this is a little bit of danger for Roger, but like I've said a couple times already, if Roger is playing like Roger, not enough danger here to stop the run to the finals. Ooh, round 4, Dimitrov, the baby fed. I know he doesn't like that name, so I'll try not to say it too much. But Grigor, I think this match will happen, but I would not bet money that Grigor Dimitrov is actually going to get to the 4th round and meet with Roger. I hope it happens. I think it'll be a good match, and I also hope it happens because I'm very confident that Roger could win this in 3 or 4 sets. And with the way Grigor's year has gone recently, I'm going to lean towards 3 sets. And the quarterfinals, a potential matchup for Roger and Milos Raonic. That would be a rematch from last year's semifinals, and Fed heads would love to see a little revenge here. Now, let me tell you why I'm not sure Raonic will even make it this far to meet Roger, because he's lost 8 times this year. It's been a rough year, and he's lost early to very low-ranked players sometimes. But it's not all his fault. He's been dealing with a lot of injury problems, or more specifically one. It started in February. Milos made it to the finals at Delray Beach, and then had to pull out right before the final and concede it to Jack Sock because of a hamstring injury. Then, guess what? Next month, he re-aggravates the injury and has to pull out of Indian Wells. Then, in April, the next month after that, he has to pull out of Monte Carlo with, you guessed it, the same hamstring injury keeps getting re-aggravated. Now, I don't know how fresh Milos feels right now. I don't know how fresh he'll feel by the time the quarterfinals of Wimbledon roll around and he has this theoretical matchup with Roger Federer. But I will tell you this, I don't think he's going to feel healthy and or confident enough to win again against Roger, who's going to be feeling a lot better this year than when he was playing on a recently surgically repaired knee last year. So look for revenge, Fed heads. If this match does happen, I'm very confident that Roger will win it. In fact, we might see a less than healthy Milos Raonic be the one who slips and falls this year. And boom, finally we get to the semifinals, a potential matchup with Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer. A rematch of the finals of Wimbledon 2014, 2015, and a rematch of the semifinals in 2012 when Roger last won Wimbledon. Wouldn't Fed heads like to see that again, especially when Roger could meet Andy Murray in the final, potentially. So let's say that this matchup happens. Djokovic has a lot to prove, and I'm sure he's really hungry to get a win this year, a big win. And would it be no better than that, right? For Novak, what could you imagine? Beating Roger Federer when everyone's expecting him to win Wimbledon or at least get to the finals? Novak is going to be hungry for this one, so there's danger for Roger. This could be an incredible match. This could also be a figment of our imagination, because I don't think Djokovic is guaranteed to get there. Yes, Novak of the past, this draw looks pretty doable for him. But Novak of recent, I don't know. This draw looks a little tougher for him. And especially when in the 3rd round, he could go up against Juan Martín del Potro, who Djokovic has had some bad losses against in the past. And honestly, maybe I'm just hoping this, but don't be surprised if Djokovic loses to Del Po in the 3rd round, especially where Djokovic is playing. He played today. He plays tomorrow against Monfils. Djokovic might not be super fresh by the time he gets to a 3rd round, and if he does get through Del Po, I don't think he's going to be super fresh against Roger in the semifinals. I favor Roger to come through this semifinal and get to the finals no matter who he ends up playing. All right, I'm going to flip my Fed head around, and we're going to talk about Rafa Nadal. Round 1 against Millman. This guy has been playing minor league tournaments all year long. This sounds like the perfect match for Rafa to find his grass feet on and make sure he makes it into round 2. Round 2. Rafa potentially could go up against Dennis Istomin or Donald Young. Which one is it going to be? Rafa fans probably hope for Donald Young. That sounds like the easier match, but Donald Young has really good hands at net and a pretty good slice serve, although it's going to be going into Rafa's strength, the forehand, because Donald Young is also a lefty. Either way, that's easier than Dennis Istomin if Istomin is playing the way he played when he took out Novak Djokovic in Australia this year in the second round. So the question is, can Dennis Istomin produce another amazing second round upset? So this is actually a little bit of danger, Rafa fans. I'm sorry, I hate to admit it. Now, Istomin might not play incredible, but if he goes out there and plays incredible, I mean, we could see Rafa get blown off of the court. Even Uncle Tony admitted that Rafa's game is less effective in that first week of Wimbledon because of that lush, thick green grass. Rafa's ball stays lower, it's less explosive, the topspin doesn't hurt people, all the RPM that we've heard Rafa can generate, it's neutralized. But someone like Dennis Istomin is the old-fashioned kind of power. He's big and strong, and he's going to thump a big old serve that's going to be tough to return on grass. This is a danger round for Rafa, but Rafa's been special this year in 2017, and I know he's determined to meet Federer in the final. I think Rafa will win. Don't worry, Rafa fans. Round 3, Karen Khachanov, another big, tall, powerful guy with a big monster serve and a big monster forehand. Another danger match for Rafa. I'm sorry, Rafa fans, but this is not the best thing for Rafa to see in the first week. But, like I said before, this is a special Rafa in 2017. I think he's going to will it. He's going to win. This is a match that could go 5 sets. It really could. The guy's got the game to really hurt Rafa, especially in the first week of Wimbledon because of the court conditions and etc. But anyways, I think Rafa will win. I think this could be a tough one that is exhausting and long and drawn out, which if Rafa goes all the way to the finals to play Fed, this is where the wear and tear starts hurting his chances to beat Federer on his favorite surface of all time. Alright, Rafa's round of 16, the seed that he would likely face is Gilles Muller, who's already won a tournament on grass this year and has been looking really good. And guess what? He's another big, tall guy with a big serve. But like I said about Donald Young and that potential matchup, this is a lefty in Muller, so his strength is serving to Rafa's strength, the forehand. I'm sure these lefties, including Muller, they all love serving that wide slice to the backhand of righties. Well, it's neutralized a little bit against Nadal. Now, this is the beginning of the second week, the round of 16, so now the court is going to start playing the way Rafa likes it to play. So I know this is another big server guy who's the type of guy that could hurt Rafa. If it was the first round, I'd be like, yikes, watch out, Rafa, danger alert, upset alert. But at the start of the second week, the court's starting to play the way Rafa and Uncle Tony want it to play. I give Rafa the advantage in this match. I think he's going to get through. This could be a straight sets win for Rafa. Yikes! Marin Cilic. Okay, if you guys saw Coffee Break Tennis last week or whenever the last episode was early this week, remember I said, please, Mr. Wimbledon, put Cilic in Rafa's side of the draw. And boy, am I glad that Mr. Wimbledon gave me my wish. It came true, and Rafa in the quarterfinals against Marin Cilic, that could be really tough. I don't care if the court is playing the way Rafa likes it. Marin Cilic's serve has been incredible, and this guy is hungry. He just lost in the final of Queen's Club. He looked great. He had a match point. You know he wants to make up for that. And you know he lost in the quarterfinals to Roger in that epic 5-setter where he was up 2-0 last year. He wants to get past the quarterfinals this year. Don't be surprised if we see another Cilic 5-set quarterfinal, except this time with the King of Clay instead of the King of Grass. I don't know who would win it, but I'm confident, sticking with this theme of Super Rafa after we saw the way he played at the French Open, and all year to be honest with you, he's going to come through. Cilic is going to take him to 5 sets if this match does happen and the seeding works out the way it should, and that means Rafa is just more wear and tear before he hits the finals against Roger. So this is bad news for Rafa, win or especially if he loses in the quarterfinals to Marin Cilic. And finally, the projected semifinal for Rafa Nadal is against Andy Murray, the #1 seed this year at Wimbledon 2017. Do I think this match is actually going to happen? It's hard, you know. It's hard to say that. Murray's got a hip injury. Murray lost first round at Queen's Club to a lucky loser from the qualifying draw who's ranked much lower than Andy Murray. I think he's ranked 107. I can't remember the ranking, but it doesn't matter. This was a shocking upset that Murray lost. He's not feeling 100%. You know, I don't see him getting out of the first week, but at the same time, I do see him getting out of the first week because This is Wimbledon. This is what Andy Murray's entire career is all about. He's always wanted to win at Wimbledon. He's done it now. He's the defending champion this year. He's going to want to have a good tournament. And at the French Open, let's be honest, I said that Murray was going to lose early. I said Djokovic would too. Now, Djokovic lost fairly early at the French Open, and Murray didn't. Murray's spirit, his fighting spirit, he just willed it. Murray is a little bit like a Rafa Nadal. I don't think he's as tough, but he's pretty similar to a Rafa Nadal mentally. Not quite that tough, but he's close. And I think he's going to draw on that toughness and actually make it to the semifinals. Possibly. I don't want to promise it, but I'm not going to bet against Andy Murray. However, I don't think he's going to be able to beat Rafa in the semifinals, but I do think he can make it a really tough match, more wear and tear before Rafa gets into the finals against Roger. And finally, Rafa and Roger's projected final, the dream final, the repeat of 2008, what many people believe to be the greatest tennis match in the history of the sport. And, you know, I hope it happens. I want to see Roger Rafa. I think this is as likely as it's been to happen in a long time. I want it to happen. At the same time, if Rafa loses, I'll feel relieved. I'm a Roger fan. I love Roger. Let me flip my cap back around to the RF side of it. You know, I want Roger to have the best chance to win Wimbledon that he can possibly have. And I think his draw is pretty good. And I think he can beat Rafa this year on grass. He's beat him 3 times on hard courts. If Rafa makes it to the finals, I think, you know, we could see a very fresh Roger who got to the finals pretty easily. We could also see a Roger who had some tough matches that I couldn't predict, that no one could predict, you know, some 5-setters. But you know what? He did it at the Australian Open. He went 5 against Nishikori. He went 5 against Stan the Man in the semifinals. He had enough energy left over to go 5 with Rafa and win. I think he can do it again. I think we could see another greatest match of all time type match. 5 sets with Roger and Rafa in Wimbledon. I think we could see Roger win it in straight sets against Rafa. Rafa could be dog-tired by the time he gets there. It's so far away, I feel silly talking about all this. Bottom line, I think the Roger Federer draw looks easier than the Rafael Nadal draw, and if they both make it to the finals, that's advantage Roger. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube with a very big tennis brain and understanding of the game, of course. And let me talk a little bit about Novak and Andy Murray before we get going. And I'm just going to tell you a couple danger signs I see in their draw. You know, Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic of the past couple years, their draws look easy. Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic of 2017, their draws look dangerous. First off, Andy Murray could go up against Dustin Brown, who took out Nadal not too long ago at Wimbledon. Andy Murray's 4th round is particularly very dangerous because he could go up against Nick Kyrgios or Luca Pouille, 2 young guys who are very talented, who I think honestly have great shots at winning Wimbledon one day. Djokovic draw, pretty winnable for the old Djokovic. He's got to go up against Del Potro. That could be really tough. Also, he's going to have to play Feliciano Lopez possibly. He's got Tomas Berdych, who I know I kind of made fun of in the last episode, but hey, Berdych has been in a Wimbledon final before. It's his favorite surface, at least for the Grand Slams. This is the best he's ever done anywhere. And you know Berdych is very hungry, just like Novak is, to prove himself after a pretty rough 2017 first half. So Djokovic has got a little bit of danger there. I think if anyone's going to stop Djokovic, it's going to be Juan Martín Del Potro in the 3rd round. And with Del Po's size and history with injury, I don't know how far Del Po can go after everything it's going to take out of him to beat Djokovic in the 3rd round. Like I said, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I can't guarantee any of this stuff. In fact, no one can guarantee this. I don't care if you've won Grand Slams in the past. I don't care if you've been talking on ESPN for your whole life. No one knows for sure what's going to happen. Roger Federer could lose in the 1st round to Alexander Dolgopolov. Okay, that's unlikely. But like I said, no one knows for sure how this is going to work out. All I can guarantee you is that we're going to have a lot of fun for the next 2 weeks watching what looks to be one of the best Wimbledons in recent memory. I can also promise you guys that I'm going to be here right at the Coffee Break Tennis desk letting you guys know what I think about all this stuff and getting really excited along with you when Roger Federer holds up that 19th Grand Slam trophy. It's going to be awesome at SW19. While I got you here, I want to thank you for watching the show, the fastest growing tennis talk show in the world, Coffee Break Tennis. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your tweets. If you haven't followed me yet, follow us at Coffee Break Tens, TENS, to see what I'm tweeting during the tournament. We're going to have a lot of fun tweeting back and forth about Roger's matches, Rafa's matches, all kinds of awesome matches. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, especially if you're a tennis player. Because let me tell you, Crunch Time Coaching, that's us. We're a tennis instruction channel. We've been voted top 10 by Lessons.com for tennis instruction channels online in the world. If you play tennis, our mission is to help you have more fun on court. So subscribe and check out our videos. Whether you want help with your serve, your forehand, or you want a little help from me, the tennis fitness guru, with your fitness training, we're going to be there for you. Subscribe right now and start watching our videos. It's free. Do it today. Fix your game, have more fun on the court. I'm Matt for Crunch Time Coaching and Coffee Break Tennis, and that's some good coffee. I'll see you guys next time.
I've been doing a lot of thinking, looking at that mighty nice draw. I couldn't think of a better way to show my appreciation other than in the beautiful form of song. So here you go, Mr. Wimbledon. It ain't much, but I hope you like it. Hit the G note. Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Yeah, I said a thank you very much. Said a thank you. I wanna thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Yeah, I said a thank you. I'm gonna thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Wimbledon.
Mr. Wimbledon,
I wanna thank you
for the strawberry
very much. Yeah. Ooh, oh, yeah. Mr. Wimbledon, I'm gonna thank you.
Mr. Wimbledon.
Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon.
You Mr. Wimbledon,
Thank you very much.
you keep the grass so clean.
You keep the roof closed. Thank you, Mr. Wimbledon. Thank you.